Hello, my name is Mark Owusu-ansah, and this is a presentation on our load balancing with the Netscaler VPX within the softlayer infrastructure. I am part of the softlayer enterprise onboarding SWAT team. The basic agenda here is a brief overview of Netscaler VPX, typical uses within the software infrastructure, sample provisioning steps, sample configuration steps, and a demo that goes through the provisioning and configuration steps. So what's the Netscaler? Netscaler VPX. It's a full application delivery controller to manage your web applications. The VPX is the virtual appliance version of the product, and it's a full application delivery controller with a lot of features. Some of them listed here. The primary ones are the load balancing. You're able to load balance the public and private network. The layer 4, you're also able to do a layer 7 content switching. You have application acceleration, SSL offloading, caching, DDoS protection, and web application firewall, among many others. Essentially, the primary duties, the primary capabilities are to accelerate your application performance, increase your, protect your environment, and then make the applications available as necessary. Within the IBM environment, the VPX, depending on your licenses, and I suppose within the Netscaler itself, VPS, depending on your licenses, will give you exactly what you are looking for. Typically within the software infrastructure, the VPS is positioned as an alternative load balancer compared to local load balancers that already exist. There are load balancers, local and dedicated load balancers provided by softlayer. Those work well as load balancers, but they are very limited in what they do, in the sense that they only do load balancing and not much else. And even then, you do not have much control about how things work or control by the appliances. You basically specify your VIPs, your virtual IPs, and a simple configuration, and you are done. Everything else is managed by softlayer. So if you are just looking for a simple load balancer, then the local load balancers will do. The Netscaler VPX gives you full control over the appliance, so you are basically able to do everything that the appliance allows you to do with the appropriate licenses. Typically, it's used as a load balancer and a global server load balancer within the software environment. They are the standard and platinum licenses, and you need the standard license for load balancing. You may need a platinum license for the GSLB version of it. Essentially, whatever the licenses avails to you, you are capable of. You should be able to use that within software. So, if you want your full control over the environment, unlimited capabilities for what you want to do, or determine how you use your environment, then the Netscaler probably it's a better option than the local load balancers. How do you provision it? From the control portal, you essentially order a network appliance, which will be the Netscaler Netscaler VPX. You choose your data center, select the capacity and the licenses that you need. Choose a number of IP addresses that you want to associate with the Netscaler, and those are the ones that will become your VIPs, your virtual IP addresses. Complete the other information, and within a few hours it should be provisioned. Sample configuration steps. We typically do the configuration within a private network, so you log on to the private environment, and the steps are fairly straightforward. You confirm that your load balancing is enabled, load balancing feature is enabled. If it's not, you add it on there, and we'll go through the steps. You add the service that you want to load balance. You create a server. You create a service for each server that you want to load balance. That's a service which is just the server and a port combination will make up the service. And then you create a virtual server, a load balancing virtual server, and then bind the individual services that you want to balance to the virtual server, and go ahead and test your environment. We'll do a demo environment. We'll do a demonstration here, and this is basically everything that we'll do. We'll provision the Netscaler with a standard license, so we are able to do the load balancing. I will not actually provision it, but I'll go through the steps of provisioning, and so you see how it's done. You balance 2 web servers. Then we are going to be balancing 2 web servers with the Netscaler VPX. This is the basic information that we are going to be using, and we'll see that in a minute here. So let's go to the demo. As you can see here, I'm in the control portal, and this is the home interface. There are many ways of ordering your devices from there, but this is fairly straightforward way, so we'll just use it. You're going to order a network device from here. Network. Citrix Netscaler VPX order. And you get a screen here where you input your information. Select the location. Select the Netscaler capabilities, the version and capacity that you want, along with the licenses. And you can, as you can see, it's quite a bit of it. I'll just go with a 10.5 1 gig standard. And I'll select 8 IP addresses, static IP addresses. It's important that you make sure you select the IP addresses that you need, just so you do it all in one shot. Instead of coming back later on and re-adding the IPs. It's possible, you can do that, but it's easier if you know how many servers you are going to be load balancing, to select the IP addresses that you may need. Once they are selected, continue. Now here you fill out some information that sales uses to keep accounting of everything that's been provisioned out, or the IP addresses that have been given out. So you go through it and then answer the questions. How many of these IPs will be used in the next 30 days? You supply them, and I'll fill this out here. if your servers need to be in a particular VLAN, or your servers or the Netscaler needs to be in a particular VLAN, and you know what the VLANs already are, then you want to select these and pick up the VLANs. Here's the case where there's probably only one there, so any just puts us into any of them. It puts them into the one that's available. If you had any specific, I mean, it basically allows you to select the backend VLAN and the front-end VLAN as you may need them within your configuration. Review the charges associated with it. Whatever discounts or promos that you have, add to it, and then check the master service agreement checkbox. Once you do that, you should have the option to place the order. In this case, I am not going to place the order because I've already placed an order a while before the demonstration, and I have some servers already provisioned. So this placing the order will cause the order to be sent to sales. The necessary approvals will be completed, and then the Netscaler VPX will be provisioned. For now, I'll just cancel out of this here. Okay. Usually takes up to it says up to about 4 hours, but it usually gets provisioned in much less time than that. Anyway, in our case, we'll go here and to devices, and I have filtered my screen here so the devices are only showing location Seattle, because Seattle is where I have the Netscaler provision. And as you can see, this is what we are attempting to do here. We want to load balance 2 web servers, right? And then with the Netscaler that's been provisioned up here. Now, obviously, the web servers are already provisioned and they're already working. In our environment, let's look at the Netscalers a little bit more. If you double click on it, you get more information about it, the private IP address of a Netscaler. You typically work with a Netscaler within a private environment. Okay. These are the IP addresses that were provisioned with the Netscaler, the static IP addresses. If you wanted all of them to be private, then you probably would also order private static IP addresses. For our demo purposes, we're just going to be using public ones. And I'm going to be using the first one here, 172.192.193.192.161.152 as our load balancing virtual server. As you can see that here. Okay. You have the option of accessing the device right away here, and note that the IP address is a private IP. So when you try to access the device, it's going to go to the private IP, and that assumes that you are already logged into the private VPN. I went through and logged into the private VPN before the demo, so it would go there. But before we do that, we'll come back here. We'll come back to the earlier screen here, and open this twisty here and make a note of the user ID and password. Right. So I'm just simply going to copy the password here. I will go up here. I'll go up here to Actions, Manage Device, and select it. And it's going to go to the VPX and the VPX logon web session here. Obviously, as I indicated, you should already be dialed into the environment, into the private environment. Okay. Before I log on here, let's just review the 2 environments that we want to load balance. Take the IP addresses here. Okay, and I'll open this here. These are 2 basic web pages. 50.23.155.138 is the first one, and it just goes to a simple web page with a green background, and the 139 web page with a yellow background. So what we want to do is we want to load balance the 2 servers, so that we just use a simple round robin, so that one click gets you to the yellow page, and the next one should get you to the green page, and so forth and so on, right? Just want to spread the yellow and the green pages across anybody that tries to access the environment. Okay, so okay, let me come up here, and then now we'll log in to. This is your environment. Before we start anything, we want to make sure that the load balancing feature is enabled. So we go to System, Settings, Configure Basic Features, and load balancing is enabled in this case. But if it wasn't, it's as simple as just checking it, and that will be it. Okay. So now let's go to traffic management and configure our load balancing. Okay. So we have load balancing here. First, let's add the servers that we want to load balance. Okay. Add the servers to it so we know what service we are dealing with. So web server 1. Say web server 1. I'll just do marco.com, even though it's not. We just give it a name here, and then the IP address is what we are interested in. It's 50 23 155 138, and I'll just leave it things as is for now, just basic configuration. So we create server 1, just copy this for later. And when you see the state, when the state shows up enabled, it means it's able to reach the server. It's up to server 2. $50 23 155 139. Same way we create this. So now we have the two servers added. Now we need to add the services. The services are essentially the services correspond to the servers that you want to load balance with the specific port designated to that server, or which to reach the server. So let's do this here. So we'll do just say web service 1, web service -1. Okay, we are going to be linking this to an existing server. As you can see, you could have chosen not to add the service individually and just add the services and then define the servers here. For simplicity, I think if you define the servers and then you know what your servers already are, then you can go ahead with it with the existing server in this case. So we choose web server 1. We use existing server, web server 1. The protocol will be HTTP. The port will be port 80. There are other options here, but I'll ignore them for now. Okay, copy this here. So now this is the first service, and then we are done. The state is up, which is good news. We add the second service. This will be web service 2. Existing server, we choose web service 2. Same HTTP port 80. same way. Again, we're done here. So we've defined our services. We define our servers. We've tied them down to link them to services. Now we need to do the virtual server. Before we do that, just sometimes people like to use the service groups, which will consolidate all the services into a single group, and that's an option also. So you may come up here and there will be no services, but they all be defined in the service groups. I'm not going to go through that, but it's another way of doing it. For this exercise, I just decided to keep the services here so you can see them. So now what we need to do is define a virtual server. Now this is the virtual server to which the services will be bound to, and then balanced. So we'll do a virtual server of we'll add a virtual server here, load balancing virtual server. So we can call it web service. Give it a descriptive name. LBPS. And the services are in Seattle. The protocol will be HTTP. We are going to be using IP addresses, and the IP addresses will be one of the IP addresses that we are going to be using, the ones associated with the Netscaler. We already picked one up earlier on, and I have it here. 173.192.161.152. 173.192.161.152. Again, port 80 is what we are using. So we'll just click this for now. Okay. So now it's created. The load balancing virtual server is created. Now we need to bind it. We need to bind the services that the virtual server will be handling or will be distributing load to. There are no load balancing virtual server binding, so we'll go out here, and then we have to find the services. Service 1, we add service 1 to it, and then we bind it. Okay, so this one server, and we'll go ahead and add service 2, add a binding for service 2. As you can see, you could do all of these things on the flash. You can do all of these things, or at the same time you are defining a virtual server. So you could basically just define your virtual server and then add the services and the servers and everything in one big swoop. It's simpler for the steps we've taken, because then it shows you how everything gets, how we get to all the different capabilities. Anyway, so you go out here, and then we are going to be adding this service 2 here, web service 2, and then we bind it, and then we close it. So basically what we have at this point is we have two services bindings, two service bindings to the load balancing virtual server. We click OK, and then what you do see here is you have a whole bunch of options that you can customize. The only one that I think may be useful for now is that we'll go to the method of balancing, and then we'll just use the round robin. So ideally the load will be distributed one-on-one over the two services or servers. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and at this point I'm done. Again, there are a lot of options here that you can basically go through and review and customize. So I'm done. The two important thing here is the state is up, effective state is up. We know the IP address, we know the port, we know the protocol, round robin, and 100%. Two of them are up, so you see a 100% uptime. This is essentially your configuration, and you're basically done. At this point, what you do is you should be able to go to the load balancing virtual server, and all things being equal, you should be able to spread load, or you should be you should be able to see the different environments. Let me save this here. See the different environments that are tied to the load balancing virtual server. So the rest of the exercise will just be toggling between the two, going to the load balancer and then seeing where we're able to go to. So this is one. This is two. This is three. And you basically move through back and forth. Right, so we can see that it's getting balanced. The data is getting balanced. The requests are getting balanced between the load servers, between the services, the green and the yellow. This is essentially the presentation. Thank you.